Hello and welcome back to another podcast editing walkthrough. My name is SP and I'm from the GetAGeek.com podcast network. I also host Better Podcasting, which is a podcast to help the hobby podcaster. And also on the GetAGeek network, I host and produce a weekly podcast in the general Marvel universe called Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, I've been asked by a lot of people, how do I edit? Or can you teach me how to edit? So I went ahead and created these videos doing what I do already in editing Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. to show how I edit so you can learn how to do that. Now, I stream these live on my Twitch stream channel, which is twitch.tv/Stargate Pioneer. Then I upload the finished videos to my YouTube channel, which is Stargate Pioneer Edit Walkthroughs. Now, I use Vegas Movie Studio 15.0 Platinum for the video edit, and then move on into Audacity for the audio edit. There's just a couple of things that I do in Audacity that I just can't do in Vegas Movie Studio. And how I do this is I do the video edit and then I export a FLAC file, which is a lossless file, which means I'm not losing any data. That is less storage, so it's a lot smaller than a WAV file. So FLAC is easier to go back and forth between these two applications. It's also easier to upload to a co-host if you're uploading it into the cloud and then they have to download it. The upload is generally what takes a lot of time if you don't have tremendously great bandwidth, which I don't. Now, this is a basic editing walkthrough. It's not lessons, but it's like a video game walkthrough, and I will be giving explanations along the way for how I am editing. Now, in this video, I will be editing Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 261, and spoiler alert, in this episode, we do talk the Punisher, season 1, episode 4, quite a bit. So if you don't want to be spoiled on that, go watch the Punisher, get up through episode 4, then you can come back and watch this. So my status so far is I've done the video edit, and that took 10 videos, so you can go back in my YouTube channel and watch all those. And what I did is at the end of the last episode, I started to render a file. Now I'm going to have to go back on that, but we'll get there in a second. And I created the FLAC file, and that's kind of what you see in front of you. I know where no, you don't see it. Actually, I'm on my individual camera. We will be looking at that in a second. So I do have that FLAC file, and I do have that up in Audacity ready to go right now. And what I will be doing is I will be shifting my editing philosophy a little bit, because before in the video I was looking at eliminating crosstalk, eliminating crutch words, as it were, like I just did with the I'm eliminating those, and I'm just trying to make it a better, pleasurable experience for somebody to actually listen to. And I replaced the soundboard with the original files as well. Well, in this particular case, with the audio edit, I'm going to be shifting it a little bit. I'm going to be doing some Truncate Silence work, so it's going to be a shorter file, because right now it's about an hour, and it's going to be shorter than that. We'll see how much shorter it is when we're done with. And I will also be doing minor editing corrections that I could not do with the video file, because I did not have the appropriate either two-camera setup or switching. I kept on saying switching over the last 10 videos. And it's not just switching, it's two cameras. If I had a second angle, that would have made it an easier edit as well, but I didn't. So once again, I'm prioritizing the content. That hasn't changed. I'm prioritizing the audio quality, probably a little bit more in the Audacity edit than I did in the Vegas Movie Studio edit. And then I'm keeping a lookout for my listeners' time, trying to not have them go through extensive periods of silence or words, double speaks, or crutch words that really don't need to be there. And I know for a fact there's a couple of those in this 1 hour recording, because I remember talking about them, and then we'll take it out. So my primary focus is definitely going to be audio without any video considerations here. I also only have one track to work with here, because I've already done the deconfliction in Vegas Movie Studio. There will be some minor overtalk, but it's not going to be too bad. So if you have a question along the way and you're watching live on stream, don't hesitate. Go ahead and put your question in the live chat. Or if you just want to say hi, I'd much rather you say hi than you just lurk out there. So I just know that you are out there and that you could ask a question. if you need to. And if you're watching this on YouTube later, please leave a comment down below if you have a question, and then put the timestamp, not of the project that I'm working on, but of the YouTube video that you are watching, so I can go back and take a look at the specific question that you might have. So with that, we are actually going to shift right back to Vegas Movie Studio. And this is because I did a boo-boo last time when I started rendering. Now, if you recall, I was so excited to render, I just went ahead and rendered. Well, unfortunately, I did not mute the soundtracks. So I did not mute the bumps. I did not mute the intro outro and the copy of the intro outro. I will change that in the template when we start it up again to pre-roll. That's the whole track is in there for pre-roll. Go back to the first video that I did of this video edit. So what I had to do is I stopped it once I figured it was like 10 minutes into an hour-long render. So I stopped it and I went ahead and I muted these soundtracks and I rendered it again. So just wanted to make sure that you knew that. Also, since I've done that, I've gone ahead and I've done the editing of the outtakes for what was after the post credits. And so I've deleted that out. That is not there anymore. The end of the project is literally the end of the episode that I did all of the changing for. Oh, you know what? Oh, there it is. I was like, oh, where's my text? I don't see the text. There it is. So this is what we've got. And that was the final audio or video edit. Now, if I do notice something in the audio edit, I will go back and make changes in this before I render it. So might have to actually re-render little bits and pieces and replace audio as I go as well. Just how I've been doing things. So you'll get to see that. Hopefully not, but maybe you'll get to see that. All right. Now we are at the FLAC file as it rendered, which includes all this wonderful stuff to the right. I'm going to go ahead and do a Control-I and break the track, double click that part of the track and just click delete. Don't need that stuff anymore. It's gone. And this is what we've got. I'm going to move my little camera over to the right-hand side now, and you won't see me interfering with the track. This is Audacity. We'll see what version we're in right here. 2.0.6. I think it's 2.3 point something right now. So this is an older version of Audacity. If you need tips on the newer version of Audacity, let me know. And I'll boot it up because I do have it. And I'll show you some of the differences. But for the most part, the way that you use the program won't change all that much. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create some new tracks so that I can start with all the pre-roll stuff. And I usually put in 4 tracks. I think it's 4. 1, 2, whoop. Need to be on here. And the way I do that is I do Shift, Alt, N. Nope, Control, Shift, N. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to go over to the title bar of this track. I'm just going to move it to the bottom. That'll give me the 4 tracks on top to go ahead and mess around with. The first thing I need to do is I'm going to do a cut and paste. And I'm going to just cut that audio because it's the cold opening audio. I'm going to move my cursor up to the first track. I'm going to skip to start home. And then I'm going to Control V, paste that in. And I've had the sync tracks lock on, so it shifted everything to the right. So I'm good to go there. Now the next thing I need to do, and I have not brought this up yet, so I'm going to have to do this now. I'm going to put the pre-roll in, and I don't remember what the pre-roll was off the top of my head. So we're going to go back to the Magic Movie Studio, and we're going to zero in on the pre-roll. Undaunted. There we go. So I need to go ahead and open Undaunted. And I'm actually doing this off screen right now because that's where the window opened. And I need to open the folder to find the folder. Where is it? Oh, there it is. And we'll open the Undaunted. And that should come up right here. All right, I double-clicked the track, which selects everything on the track. Control C, and we'll just minimize that. And then we'll move it on to the second track here, and Control V. That will put that in there. And then we'll zoom in a little bit. What we'll do here on the first track, actually, is we'll do an Alt-T, which is a Truncate Silence command that I've installed. And if you need to know how to do that, let me know. I know I've done that in a previous video. And now we have these two that are aligned. Now, the next thing I need to do is actually go in to the template that I have. Now, the template that I have for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D, I don't use the template. I actually create a new file every time. But I have a template with all the bumps in it. And this makes it easier for me to go ahead and replace the files by just copying them and pasting them in. However, in order to do this, I actually have to bring up that template. There we go. Oh, this is not the most current one. It is. Yep, just double checking. This is most current. And what I do is I'll double click the music part, and then there's a voiceover part too. So it's actually two tracks. I'll Control C. I'll minimize this. We will see that again. I will click right here, and it will lock into place right after the pre-roll. I will use my Shift key and the down key to create a selection of just the line on those two tracks, and I will do a Control V to paste that file in. At this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and take off the sync lock tracks. And this is because I need to move some tracks, and I need to move them overlapping or crossfade in, crossfade out, as you might be familiar with if you are a music editor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move this in, and I'm going to move it over so my head isn't in the way here. So what we have here is just a little notch in the pre-roll, and you can kind of see it as you zoom in. And that's where I like to start the actual thing. I'm wondering if no, I thought I put something in there, but I didn't. I did not create a new track. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the selection tool, and I'm going to click right here. I just know that's where the break is because there is no bump, because I've muted the bump when I rendered this file. I'm going to choose Control I, and that goes ahead and enables me to pull that away from the rest of the track. I'm going to go back to the selection tool, double click, and then use the same thing I did before, Control T, or Alt T, which brings up my shortcut to Truncate Silence. Also, if you wanted Truncate Silence, you can go ahead into the effects, and it brings up the same options. All right, I already can tell at the beginning of this, there is some noise. All that's noise that needs to go out. So I'm going to Control L or silence that. And then I'm going to select this piece again and go Control T to do a Truncate Silence. And that gives me what I want there. So I'm going to back up or zoom out, and I'm going to use the, what do they call this? Time shift tool. I'm going to move this over to about there. It's when the tracks click together from the voiceover and when I start. I'm going to actually have to overlap that a little bit more, but it is where I want to zoom in on. Now, this part of the intro, I start speaking, and for 5 years, I've had me start speaking at the third cluster after this, which is basically a da-da-da in the music. I'm a musician. The da-da-da just did it for me, and I wanted to start speaking right there. I don't have to be exact. It's not like I have to be at a certain point in the waveform, and I can't be a certain time because those pre-rolls are different lengths, and the cold openings are different lengths all the time too. But now I've overlapped. I've gone there. I don't want to shift tracks anymore because they are exactly where I want them. Just to make sure, we'll go ahead and click the time bar up here, and you will hear how this sounds.
S.H.I.E.L.D. director.
Now it's time for your... All right. So move out a little bit. Actually move in a little bit. And we'll go ahead and create some other tracks down here because we'll need them for when I insert the bumps and the post roll or outro later. And now we're just going to sit back and listen and make corrections as we need to.
S.H.I.E.L.D. director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're a Marvel Comic Universe fan show, and this show is recorded on Sunday, November. And this show is All right. Found the first mistake. And this show is okay. I already know what I'm going to do here. So I say show here. This show, and I say show here. A show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim out a lot of stuff here, but I am going to merge those S sounds. And this is easy to do because S's are so compressed waveforms. You can hardly tell the difference. Now, there is a tonal shift between the two, so we'll see if that matters in this time. A Marvel Comic Universe fan show, and this show is recorded on Sunday, November 4th, 2018, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide via www.geeks.live. You can come and join our live chat as we record. Ladies, happy National Candy Day!
Who got discount Halloween candy? Yeah!
I bought $80 worth of Halloween candy, and at the end of 1.5 hours of the Beggar's Night trick or treat, whatever you want to call it, I had one bag left. It was getting into dangerous emergency rations. What I'm noticing here is in this particular episode, there was a lot of desk bangs and stuff from Lauren going on. I'm thinking she had a really hot mic, and meaning she had a lot of gain, and a lot of the background noise was accentuated. So you're hearing it, at least I'm hearing it in the background of when people are talking to, and there's just no way to take it out. I bought $80 worth of Halloween candy, and at the end of 1.5 hours of the Beggar's Night trick or treat, whatever you want to call it, I had one bag left. It was getting into dangerous emergency rations.
We don't get trick-or-treaters at my place.
No, I'm curious now. I'm going to bring back the movie studio, and we're going to see how... I'm just going to do a solo on Lauren's track, and we're going to see how much noise she's bringing in.
I'm Agent Lauren.
Oh. We'll turn the isotope off because that just makes it too hard for this to render as it's playing. The declick. Yes, I know this is silence, but yep, there we go. I might have to go in and re-render this whole thing.
I'm Agent Lauren.
Huh.
Who got discount?
I'm going to save this. We're going to close it. I'm going to bring it back up. And I did that because sometimes, I don't know why, but the track gets all muddy. And the only way to save it is to close the file and reopen it. Fortunately, it automatically brings up the last project. All right, let's see if this sounds the same or not.
I'm Agent Lauren.
Much better. So normally the denoise and the noise gate takes that all out. Yeah, but apparently not this case.
Who got discount? Who got discount Halloween candy? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, normally I don't have to do this, but in this particular case, I'm going to have to do this for this entire track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to re-render and I'm going to come back. And in the next video, I will start editing from the point where I start speaking all over again. So you don't have to sit through me listening for silence on Lauren's track for the whole podcast here. And that's just what I'm planning on doing right now. So that was a quick intro to the podcast on Audacity. I will come back next time and we will finish this edit. Right now it's sitting at about an hour, and we'll see if we can't tighten that up or anything through Truncate Silence. One thing I want to say about that Truncate Silence before I go away here, and I'll just select this track and bring up the Truncate Silence again. I've used a 0.85 second distance that I'm truncating to. In a podcast with 2 or 3 people, 0.85 seconds is about good enough. If you are solo, you might not want to go below 1.5, because in a normal human speech, 1.5 or 2 seconds is when some people need to stop and take breaths and that sort of stuff. And if you truncate it to 0.85, it seems like you're rushing through the entire podcast. If you're only doing a podcast for a couple of minutes, maybe that's okay. But if you're doing an hour-long podcast or 20-minute-long podcast, you probably don't want to use Truncate Silence any less than 1.5. And it'll sound more natural speech. Okay, next time I will come right back here and we will start editing from this point right here. And if you have any questions, once again, my name is SP. I'm from Better Podcasting. And if you do have a question, go ahead and post your comment on the YouTube channel and then link to the time code in the YouTube video. And I would appreciate that, because I will know what you're talking about then and be able to answer your question more specifically. If you want to contact me on Twitter, you can. I'm at Stargate Pioneer there. Email is stargatepioneer@gonnageek.com. And you can join our Discord server, gonnageek.com/Discord, and you can reach me there as well. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry I didn't get further than this tonight. And if you'd like more videos like this, go ahead and click like on the YouTube video down below and subscribe. And we'll make sure that you get notified of future videos. Thanks.